Guys, my eyebrows are rainbow!
What the fuck, dude? I thought we said this was gonna be my thing. Unfucking believable. Hey there, so this is a response to Jake Gray and a video out of his Wing It Wednesday series called Things Cis People Don't Understand, and I am totally appropriating these rainbow eyebrows for this video. I mean, I'm cis white scum, it's kind of what we do.
First thing, genitals and gender are not the same thing.
You don't say.
Genitals are sex, and sex is not gender. That does not equal gender. Gender isn't a physical thing. It's a mental picture of who you are.
Look, I understand the definition of sex and gender. I thought this was a video explaining things that I wouldn't understand.
Cis people have stereotypes.
Everyone has some kind of stereotype that is either believed about them or that they believe about someone else. And while it may not be true in every case, I mean, you're always going to have outliers, stereotypes come from somewhere. And they aren't all negative. Sometimes they're positive. Like, I haven't seen a porn with a black dude in it who didn't have a dick the size of my forearm. But enlighten me, what stereotypes do cis people hold that non-cis people don't?
You know, masculine and feminine stereotypes. I just slipped off my desk. There are cis males that can break these stereotypes and do feminine things. There are cis females that can break these stereotypes and do masculine things. But if a trans guy is feminine, you know, people tend to brush that off and say that you're not valid. If a trans femme person is at all masculine, they brush that off. You're not valid.
I mean, you make it sound like every cis person believes that every other cis person, you know, a man, is hyper alpha and that every woman is hyper feminine to such a degree that they would invalidate the existence of a trans person if they didn't fit into these molds. Yet you contradict it by saying that cis people seem to be okay if a man has a feminine trait or if a female has a masculine trait. So you can't sit there and tell me that a cis person who accepts that a man can have a feminine trait and also accepts that a trans man is a man may one day witness that same trans man exhibit a feminine trait and then up and decide that he is no longer a valid trans person and is actually not a person at all. I mean, I'm sorry you feel this way, but you sound paranoid to me. Next.
Another thing, this one really gets me. Alright, items don't have genders.
What are you talking about?
I hear so often, you know, people saying like, oh, that's a girl's thing, that's a boy's thing.
Yeah, it's called marketing. If you're trying to sell a product, you're going to try and market to the person most likely to buy the product. But once again, this is a video about what cis people don't understand. Exactly how do cis people not understand that items don't have genders? But I'll let you finish your thought. Maybe you'll get to that.
When people say things like, someone is shopping for a bike, we need to determine whether they're a girl or a boy so we can say whether they need a girl bike or a boy bike. It's a bike! It's a bike! Bikes don't have genders. Toys don't have genders. Clothes don't have genders. Makeup doesn't have a gender.
No shit. Products are organized in a way that the majority of people are going to easily be able to find what they want. You can't buy something you can't find. So if you're running late for a 4-year-old's birthday and her favorite toy is Barbie, you head to the bright pink aisle in the girls section because it's easy to find. Say you rip your shirt on the way there. Well, instead of having to search through every item of clothing they have in the fucking store, you go to the men's section and you find a shirt. It's like this because it is more intuitive to most people, and stores are trying to push products to you. It's not like this because stores think that items have a gender or something.
People have genders. Living beings have genders. Items do not.
Everyone knows this. Everyone understands this. Next.
Another thing is when people you don't need to get upset that trans people are good looking, because like everyone is beautiful.
Wrong.
But sometimes you see things that are like, oh, they're trans, why are they prettier than me?
I mean, is this really a thing? Look, this is Ernie. He's a trans man, and he's way hotter than I'll ever be. I don't fucking hate him for it. You're really reaching with some of these. Next.
Another thing is how uncomfortable and damaging it is to be purposely misgendered.
Look, I look at this the same way I look at fat shaming. If somebody's looking to troll you or tear you down, they're going to go for your most vulnerable spot. Typically for fat people, it's their weight, and with transgender people and non-binary people, it is their name and pronouns. If somebody's doing it on purpose, they're not looking to be nice, so there's no point in telling somebody that it's mean to misgender a trans person. It's kind of the point. They're doing it on purpose, which means they understand that it's wrong. So why is it on your list of things that cis people don't understand? Next.
People don't choose to be trans. It's simply who they are and how they feel. Things like, you look cis, or you look like a real, is not a compliment.
Maybe not to you, but what about the trans people that are striving to look like the opposite sex? And when a cis person tells them that they pass as cis, or that they actually, a trans woman looks like a real woman, what if that's the sentence they've been waiting their whole life to hear? I find it strange that you are openly invalidating some trans people. It's kind of transphobic of you, wouldn't you say? Next.
And finally, gender is a spectrum, right?
I personally have no experience with gender being a spectrum, but I'll take your word for it.
Everyone identifies somewhere on this spectrum. Just because some people identify with what they were assigned as doesn't make them any better than people that don't.
True.
And just like not identifying with the gender they're assigned to be doesn't make us any worse or any less human.
True also.
Being cis doesn't make you better than being trans.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with being trans.
I agree again.
Just because you're cis, that doesn't mean you're a god. It doesn't mean you rule the world, alright? Everyone is equal, and just because some people don't have to, fight for basic human rights and fight for who they are, to be accepted for who they are, doesn't make them any less valid.
So, this is the only part of your video that I really felt came from a real place. So, I want to let you know that not all cis people are shitheads who are out to make your life hell. There's always going to be some assholes that, want to make things hard for really anybody. But you also don't want to be out there looking for things to be offended by, or looking for things that you find invalidate yourself. Just because a toy section says boys and girls doesn't mean that people are actively trying to invalidate a non-binary person. I mean, my daughter plays with Barbies and she likes Spider-Man. Does she feel any less like a little girl if she has to go into the boys section to buy a Spider-Man because Spider-Man is marketed to boys? No. If you're looking for things to be offended by, you're always going to find something to be offended by. Okay, that's enough sappy Full House shit. I'm gonna fuck off out of here.
Stay awesome.
Oh, I plan on it.